Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi à tous. On va juste donner quelques secondes pour que les autres s'abonnent ou s'ils se branchent sur le poste. We'll just give a couple of seconds here. Good afternoon, all. Bon après-midi. Ouais, cette semaine, je t'avoue que je pense que je vais lancer un nouveau. Justement, je vois qu'il y en a quelques-uns qui ont envoyé des soumissions. Je t'avoue que cette semaine, je suis pas mal en retard avec les miennes. Car que ça commence à rouler un peu plus avec la job. C'est-à-dire qu'on a eu des formations en ligne aujourd'hui. Pas aujourd'hui, mais je veux dire cette semaine qui m'a tout déboulé un peu ma semaine en fonction de mes affaires. Mais quand même, écoute, à un moment donné, il faut retourner à la réalité aussi. Hello, John. Hi, Joe. How are you? It's nice to see you again. So as I was saying, I'm very disappointed to say that a bit. It's been one of those weeks. The job has started training us online for when it will be time, whenever that comes, to return to the store, return to reality. I should say. Not that anything is going to be anything close to normal in the next few months, for sure. As much as they keep saying the new norm, the new norm, the new norm. You know what? I wish they would just, tell it as it is. And, for the next year or whatever it's going to take before we get back to if ever we do get back to the way it was in the past. And sometimes this might be a good chance to reset everything and, start, living more amicably throughout. But then again, that's my opinion. So I noticed here that this week, a lot probably as I fell into a little bit of a slump here in my own projects, which was this weekly project. So my images are going to be a little bit late this week. I'll probably end up putting them up later on this weekend or beginning of next week. Just a little note too. As far being that now we're in the process of doing these online conferences and online trainings ourselves for the job, for my job. This Friday we're gonna have to postpone the presentation at 3:30, and I have to move it to 7:30. And again, Monday will be the episode on the third episode of the exposure triangle, which is shutter speed. C'est-à-dire qu'avec les changements un peu de cette semaine où ce que je suis en train de faire des formations en ligne pour la job, fallait que lundi, justement, je recédule notre épisode d'1 heure sur la troisième épisode de la Triangle Exposition, puis on va la mettre à 7h30 le soir au lieu de 15h30. On va le recéduler pour 19h30 lundi soir, puis ça va être l'épisode sur le troisième élément du triangle d'exposition qui est l'ISO, la sensibilité. Et puis, quand même que, vu que c'est quand même assez direct, c'est là où je vais vous expliquer aussi la façon que je mets tous les façades du triangle en fonction quand je fais mon exposition. So, as far as Monday's episode it'll be at 7:30 at night instead. And as it is the third element of the exposure triangle, what I'm going to be doing is probably within the first 20-25 minutes, I'll be explaining that last element, which is sensitivity, ISO. And then I'll be using the rest of the episode to show you how I put that into, how I make that work in my exposure when I'm using manual mode or any of the other semi-automatic modes. So what I'm going to do is we are here today to talk about our weekly challenge. And I'm also, because the way things have been, going this week, and, there's been a little bit less time for me to do my own preparations for this. I'm just wondering, should we keep the if you'll notice also, I put a whole new, whatchamacallit, I put a whole new, I'll show you actually right here. In the polls, I did a modification of the, oh, how come it didn't show up here? Okay, no, sorry, there's 18 more. I've added 18 more topics. I did a little research on the internet, and I found that, as a matter of fact, it helps if you see the screen as much as I do. So we're going to just switch this over to the screen capture. So you'll notice over here, I've added 18 more topics for the weekly challenges. Fait que vous allez voir, dès aujourd'hui, j'ai ajouté 18 plus puis je vois quand même, il y a quelques-uns qui l'ont vu. OK? C'est-à-dire que vous pouvez choisir, on peut n'importe quel de ces sujets-là. Puis même à ça, j'ai trouvé, j'ai fait une petite recherche sur les projets ou les sujets qu'on peut photographier durant notre quarantaine. Aussi, c'est-à-dire que si vous avez d'autres idées, vous pouvez toujours remplir dans cette option-là, puis ajouter vous-même une option si vous voulez faire quelque chose, puis voir qu'est-ce que les gens pensent. Je t'avoue que la prochaine défi, d'après cette choix pour l'instant, ça a l'air que ça va être la photographie low-key. Mais surtout aussi, je vais lancer un autre sondage pour voir ceux que si vous voulez étendre ces défis-là, au lieu de les faire à tous les semaines, peut-être les faire à tous les 2 semaines pour donner plus de temps à les gens à soumettre des photos et juste procéder avec les projets en tant que tels. So, je vais lancer ça sur le dans la liste ici. Puis je vois aussi, Joe, you're absolutely right. I forgot to add that. But I'll add it this evening there, right after I finish the episode here. So, but I'm also gonna set up another poll here where we'll ask whether you'd like me to extend the weekly challenges to be bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. If you think you might need more time to work on these projects, but still, if not, we'll keep them as weekly. And don't forget, if you're late like I am this week, I'm late with this week's project or with this week's challenge. You can always continue filling in those topics and those albums. As far as I've got a few actually that I had worked on last week that I hadn't had a chance to upload yet, but for macro and for the storytelling. But if you have anything new, and if you're not one to participate in these kinds of themes, fine, no problem. Just submit them as general photos to the group, and just to see what other people think of your images generally. Or if you have any questions on an image you shot, how it could have been, made better, this is the perfect forum, and this is why I created this forum. It's so that people see other ways of seeing the things around them in their photography. Okay, so c'est-à-dire que si jamais vous avez, des photos qui n'ont aucun rapport avec les sujets des défis, puis justement, on a un membre qui est très, 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 quand même, assez bien partageant à notre groupe, Fabrizio, que lui, il fait beaucoup de photos de stand-upé et de, justement, de photos de rue et tout ça. Fait que lui, il les envoie généralement en fonction du groupe pour voir comment est-ce que pour partager son photographie, mais aussi, si vous avez des questions sur une photo que vous avez prise ou quoi que ce soit, puis ça n'a pas rapport avec ces sujets-là, ça ne veut pas dire que vous ne pouvez pas les soumettre quand même. Marquez une note que vous voudrez avoir des commentaires, puis je vais sûrement tout à fait vous répondre à vos besoins aussi. So today we're talking about still life photography. So we're going to go straight over to the still life photography here. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de le projet de nature morte. Et justement, nous avons plusieurs photos de nature morte. Si vous regardez ici, il y a quand même des belles soumissions, des bons soumissions. Je les ai pas toutes eu la chance encore de toutes les genre liker en tant que tel. C'est la photo qui est... Ça, il faut faire attention aussi. Quand vous abonnez en fonction de des groupes de photos, photographie, puis c'est une raison aussi pourquoi que je trouve que Facebook, Instagram en tant que tel, ce ne sont pas nécessairement des bonnes... Quand on parle de groupes en tant que tel, de photographie, c'est pas nécessairement les meilleures façons de savoir si une photo est belle ou bonne en temps de son histoire. Puis la raison pourquoi, c'est que une photo, c'est beaucoup plus que juste d'avoir un like ou de pas le liker. Tu sais, typiquement, si je vais... social media today is based primarily on instant gratification. And that's where photography in a way has lost a little bit of its oomph, because of the fact that social media is based more towards the Mr. and Mrs. In French we say Monsieur, Madame, tout le monde, who they're primarily driven by point and shoot, instamatic images, instant images. And we know very well that I would even go as far as to say 70% of the images that are out on the internet today are just that, point and shoot, and they just don't tell any stories whatsoever. It's just a moment in time that was frozen. There was no real, I was there, I saw this, I snapped that. Yeah, but you were there, you snapped that, but it doesn't tell a story. And in here, at what point do people truly absolutely like the image because it's actually somebody they know and they want to support them, or is it because the actual image is telling a story and it's creative in its own sense? And this is why I created this group. This is why I'm doing this live feed, is really to motivate people to not... You don't have to be a photographer, okay? I mean, the photographer, from the photographer to Monsieur, Madame, tout le monde, or Mr. and Mrs. Tom, Dick, and Harry, not everybody wants to be a photographer, and that's totally fine. And I'm not against that either. Instant photography has been around for at least the last 200 years, a little bit more than that. With George Eastman and his Browning cameras when he introduced them. But I could not tell you how many people come to me and say, oh, I have the eye and I'm pretty good and this and that. But when you look at the photos, the exposure is totally off. They're blurry. The focus is badly done. This is to motivate people to stray away from mediocrity. An image that says, oh, well, that's not too bad. That's decent. I can fix it later on. No, if you don't have it, you can't fix it. There are certain aspects of photography that you can fix. But the idea of photography is to shoot it in the camera, and if you can make it better afterwards, fine. But try to get the image in the camera. C'est-à-dire que, puis il va y avoir des gens qui seraient pas d'accord avec moi, puis ça c'est totalement correct. On est tous individuels, puis je suis pas une personne où je devrais faire pas croire, mais faire plaire à tout le monde. On le sait très bien. Une phrase en anglais, you can't satisfy all of the people all of the time, only some of the people some of the time. And that's particular me. I know I will not. C'est sûr et certain, je ne ferai pas plaire à tout le monde avec ma photographie, parce qu'il n'y a pas tout le monde qui ont des intérêts comme moi. Je suis plus généraliste, oui. C'est-à-dire que je m'applique en tout façade de la photographie. Fantastique. Parce que ma passion, c'est la photographie en tant que telle. So, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I'm going to step down, and we're going to get back into a subject which is basically still life. And if we look here, we have one of our first submissions, which was from Mark, which it's a fantastic image. It would actually, you know what? We're going to do it this way so that we can actually see the image. Here we go. So now Mark, and this too is, yeah, you know, Mark, what he did here, which is not a bad thing because this is a forum for learning. I want you to get a better idea. You know what? I'm just going to, I just realized that my glasses are very much probably dirty because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing blurry. But to say that, what Mark did here, if you'll notice, he shot this image in color and he treated it in black and white. Whoops. Here we go. So he's got 3 images of the same thing. And if we look at the, what he's done here is he's changed the lighting for one thing. Which one do you prefer? Now, in this particular case, as this is a forum on excelling in your knowledge of photography, this is fine. This is perfectly, how do we say, a valid question. But I'll be honest with you, this is what I see most of the time in photo contests. Okay. Now, typically here, and this is really only for the fact that the image itself is good. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the focus. The focus here is somewhere in this area here, where we got 1/100th of a second, f11 at ISO 100. Okay, this is most likely done, and Mark, if he's here, yeah, Mark is there. He can confirm whether he used studio lighting or whether he used continuous lighting. I've got a feeling that this is probably studio lighting. The focus here should have been more on the feather, if not more on the book binding here in the back, because your depth of field would have covered your foreground and your background. What I'm looking at here now, it could also be that the, see, actually, if I look here, it looks like the back of the skull is more where the focus is. At f11, again, this should have been more in front, okay? More on the skull's face, because this is kind of a predominant subject here, is to see the face of the skull. This is just an now the other thing would have been also maybe just to change a little bit how things were you know, the question I have as far as the composition here is, was the candle supposed to light, like am I supposed to see the lighting of the candle on the skull? Or, you know, what it's just a little bit confusing because of the arrangement of the props that we have here on the table. So, qu'est-ce que je suis en train de dire, c'est que, tu sais, l'histoire est un peu est pas si claire que ça, en fonction qu'on ne sait pas si l'histoire c'est le livre qui est juste ici en avant de le... What do you call a skull in French? I forgot. La tête. Ou est-ce que, tu sais, dans ces 4 éléments-là, qu'est-ce que j'aurais fait? C'est, ben, qu'est-ce qu'on aurait pu faire? C'est plus mettre l'histoire sur soit le squelette, puis arranger ces objets secondaires plus en fonction de... puis c'est un peu ce que j'avais expliqué samedi passé, c'est que, tu sais, faut construire l'histoire en fonction de les éléments que je veux rassembler. So, you know, here you've got to make sure that all of the elements accentuate more or bring more story as secondary elements to the primary element, but you still have to be able to define what that primary element is. Now here, what Mark did also, I was saying before, just to get back to that knowledge, that comment was that here and I mean, it's not a bad thing. Here you have an image that's in color, and here you have an image that's in black and white. Now look how the story changes between the color image and the black and white image. We totally lose all the facade of the red, because the red falls into the same type of gray as the gray in the background. Look at how it changes, right? So the lighting, as far as the red is concerned, is not pertinent to this black and white image. And actually, if I don't know if Mark did, if this is the exact same image as that red colored photo, but if Mark might have removed that red gel, he would have probably gotten a little bit more shadow, which would have given him a little bit more contrast that he could play with in this image, and not have an image that was as flat as it is right now. Like there's no shadowing on the skull, the head of the skull itself. So, at this point here, which one speaks more? For me, the color image speaks more than the black and white image, because there's a certain element in the color image that just adds more interest, more story to the image itself. And typically, if Mark, you're right, if this was studio lighting, I probably would have gone up at 1/160th of a second. Obviously the 100 millimeter, but at the 1/160th of a second, I probably would have put it at 200 ISO, and you would have just been able to get a little bit more crispness on the skull is here. We can see if the focus was supposed to be on the skull, or is it no, actually you said the back of the book. Okay, so typically I still would have put more focus here on the skull, but again, that's the photographer. You're the photographer. You decide how you're going to set up your image. Between the two images, I will tell, or I should say, here we have so now the question here was, did you approach? Did you did you crop this image in the camera, or did you crop this image afterwards? Personally, I will tell you, I prefer this image here, and I would have had the candle still lit here too, but the reason is because here you're cutting off your feather, which is the feather part of the image or not, and at that point, that's something else too. If this was an important element, if this was a primary element, then in this case, I'm assuming it's not. It's a secondary element. I would have pushed that element further back, brought the the skull further closer up. But again, that's composition, and that's taste. Okay, but other than that, Mark, very good, fantastic. Here we have Christy Marin. Beautiful, and this one here will also work in next week's challenge, which will be low key, as you can see very well. And here the image is really it's the focus that's on the strings. Okay, the story here, crop wise, it is a little bit tight. Lighting wise, I mean, listen, the eye, where does it go? It goes straight here where the lines are. The focus is right on the strings. The lighting is on the strings themselves. The fact that the foreground here is darker, it brings us into this part of the image here. C'est très bien réussi quand même, c'est-à-dire que la mise au point, elle est où ce que la lumière est. So, le moment qu'on regarde cette photo-là, on sait où regarder. La lumière, l'éclairage en tant que tel, met plus d'emphase sur exactement où ce que la mise au point a été fait, qui est vraiment sur cette partie-là. La question à demander, c'est plutôt, est-ce qu'il y aurait eu une meilleure façon de prendre la photo pour que ça parle un peu plus? C'est-à-dire que, est-ce que j'aurais pu me placer un peu plus vers, si je reste avec la même angle de vue, que je bouge un peu plus à droite pour que je vois un peu plus de l'intérieur de ça ici. Mais en fonction de profondeur de champ, on n'a pas les réglages de l'appareil en tant que tel, mais quand même, c'est-à-dire que c'est très bien l'idée est là. C'est juste, est-ce qu'on aurait pu peut-être porter plus d'importance sur les dés en le prenant peut-être en plongée? Pas de beaucoup non plus. Peut-être de se lever, peut-être de 3-4 pouces, juste pour voir un peu plus l'intérieur, pour avoir un peu plus de détails à regarder net. Mais à part de ça, Christy, merveilleux, fantastique d'essai. Puis encore, faut te demander, est-ce que c'est trop serré en fonction de cadrage? Après, ici, on a un belle photo de fleurs de John. John, beautiful detail, beautiful lighting. I love the lighting. The fact that even the fact that the lighting is really on the side of the petals of the flower. You didn't go and get anything the stem under it. I love the detail in the petals themselves. It's fantastic. The lighting is fantastic. I know. Okay, we don't have the. So I question just out of curiosity, is this image shot with studio lighting or with continuous lighting? When I say studio lighting, I do mean. Hold on just a sec. Sorry, I just realized I'm doing something I shouldn't be. This is what I want to bring that over here. Studio lighting or continuous lighting. Otherwise, the colors are beautiful. The detail is fantastic. Good job. Here's a beautiful picture, a product shot. Fantastic. I'm assuming this is done with studio lighting. It's window lighting. Really fantastic. On the flower, it's window lighting. What about the bottles of whiskey and gin? Was that used with studio lighting or was that used with natural light? The only thing I find it cropped just a little bit tight. Focus is beautiful. Focus is really on that first Johnny Walker label. Bottles in a light box, fantastic. The only thing is, I'm just wondering if it just, and you can confirm this yourself, but I find that it just a little overexposed. In that, I would have wanted to see a little bit more, because obviously it's not, the gin is not necessarily clear, crystal clear, but I would have maybe wanted to see a little bit more of the of the alcohol in the gin bottle. Other than that, I love the lighting. Did you use? I just want to know. Use the light box. Did you use your lights on the outside of the light box or on the inside of the light box? Just out of curiosity, because you do have some sharp reflections here in the. I agree. There should be more detail. Okay. But other than that, John, fantastic shot, beautiful shot, and this would be a perfect outside. Fantastic. Is this like mine a 24 by a 2 foot or 3 foot softbox? Not softbox, but so. Juste pour dire que la photo en tant que telle, la prise est merveilleuse. C'était pris avec des lumières de flash à l'extérieur d'une cube de lumière. Et puis, justement, je la trouve juste un petit peu trop serrée, mais aussi un tantinet surexposé quand on aurait pu peut-être aller chercher un peu plus de la couleur, la nuance de le contenant des bouteilles. Mais à part de ça, les mises au point, il est très, très bien, précisément fait toujours sur le label qui est plus près. La profondeur de champ, il était bien choisi en fonction de la distance du première bouteille au deuxième bouteille, en conséquence de où ce que le mise au point a été réellement réussi. C'est-à-dire qu'il n'y a aucun flou dans le deuxième label que dans la première. On voit plus, tu sais, quand le plus loin qu'on s'en va avec la bouteille, on perd un peu de profondeur de champ, mais ça, c'est très bien réussi, John. Fantastic. Love it. I still haven't figured out exactly what this is, John. Is this candle wax? What is this? Is it insulation foam, that the spray foam? I mean, as far as a high key photo goes, I love it. I really do. Melted aluminum, really? Okay, then the question I have here, as far as the exposure goes, should the aluminum be more silvery, or is it really that white? So, that's something that you have to look at too. Composition wise, I love the composition in the fact that, the way that it's something that it really makes me ask, what is this? It makes me want to investigate it further. So it is that white. Fantastic then. And did you bring this? Did you convert this to black and white, or did you keep this as a color image? Other than that, I'm looking at the focusing. The focus seems to be a little bit more back here rather than up here. Other than that, there's not much else I can say about it. The photo itself, this is a color image. Okay, good. And it's just, I don't know. I might have maybe put the focus a little bit more forward. Other than that, I don't see any whites here that are really over, blown out. So, en fonction de cette image-là, je l'aime bien. Ça m'a vraiment... ça m'a porté vraiment de chercher qu'est-ce que ça aurait pu être. J'avais pas pensé à un morceau d'aluminium en tant que tel. J'avais pensé que c'était plutôt de la cire de chandelle ou quelque chose comme ça. Mais en tant que tel, c'est une très bonne... puis l'autre chose aussi, il faut comprendre que vu que c'est quand même un fond qui est blanc, le fond, il est blanc. And that's what's extremely important when you're doing high key and low key images. So when we look back at this image over here, we're doing a low key where the background if the background is black, then it should be black, not gray. And the same thing here with white. Here we're doing a high key image. Here we're doing a high key image. That background should not be gray. It should be white. If it's not white, that means that the background is not receiving enough light. Okay, and high key images and low key images a lot of the time are difficult because it's finding that intermediate equilibrium between what I'm lighting as far as the element is and how much of that background is black or white. Other than that, good go at it there, John. Fantastic. Here we have another beautiful image of a statue. Again, though, as much as you shot this on a white background, I still feel that the statue received a little bit too much light. So, and I don't know how you set up again, this is probably in the cube, but I don't know how you set it up so that the background was so white. I still would have found a way where I could have adjusted, and usually, I'll be honest with you, when I use my light cube, I usually have 3 to 4 flashes. So I have a light in the back, I have a light on both sides, and sometimes I have a light coming from up top. Dans cette cas ici, la pose est bien, le sujet il est bien posé en tant que tel. On voit même un peu de l'œil de droite du statut. La seule chose ici, que ça aurait peut-être pu être un peu plus ajusté, ou c'est de l'éclairage qui était sur le statut. C'est un statut, c'est une poupée. D'après moi, c'est un statut en céramique. Mais juste à dire que, tu sais, this was with LED lightings. Nice. The golfer drank the bottle, the two... Nice one, John. I like that between the two photos. John dit que les deux photos du whisky puis du gin, c'est lui qui les a bu et puis il est rendu à cet état-là. Fantastic. So this was lit. Okay, so this was lit with an LED light only from the top. That case, what you could have done was, if the LED light was facing the subject, what you could have done was just raise it a little bit more to give more a rim, that the rim of your lighting hitting the subject and more lighting in the back, and you still would have been able to keep that white background. Just lowered the exposure slightly, and as far as how much light was being put on the front of the statue. But other than that, John, fantastic try, very good, love it. Oh boy, you're going after my heart here, because being Italian that I am, my family makes we make jalapeno peppers in oil, and we use that as a garnish when we're eating our pasta or we're eating our meat dishes. Beautiful culinary culinary photo. Again, it's just controlling the light. The having the white spoon, and this particular, these spoons are ceramic and they're enamel, so they reflect a lot of light too. Again, even sometimes it's just taking that one light source, de prendre cette source de lumière là qui est continue, puis peut-être juste mettre juste pour le diffuser avec un genre de Kleenex devant, pour que ça soit juste un petit peu plus atténué. Okay, so what could have been done to just reduce a little bit more these reflections that you see here in the pepper, because the chilies tend to be very, very glossy type. They have like a glossy skin on them. But again, would be just to take a Kleenex and wrap the front of the LED light. I don't have one here because I'm using my LEDs as my own lighting here. But the idea would be exactly to just, it's not necessarily dimming your light, but just putting maybe a tissue paper or a Kleenex in front of your panel, your light panel, just so that light can be just slightly more diffused. But again, your background is white, the spoon is white, the white part of this image is receiving way more than enough light that you needed to have that. It's just the pepper itself could have been just attenuated a bit. C'est tout. Mais à part de ça, very good, fantastic images, everybody. Joe, I don't know if this was this part of the still life, or are you just showing people what camera you started off, which Nikon? And believe me, if Uncle Bob was here right now, he'd be commenting on this one here, because he was a big Nikon in my family, Joe. The war was between Nikon and Minolta. So my old man and his brother were Minolta guys, and my Uncle Bob, my Uncle John, his brother, his older brother, and Uncle Ron, my grandfather, on my mom's side, were Nikon buffs, and those were the two. But Uncle Bob's gone practically through all of the Nikon of that generation in the 50s and in the 60s. Now, as far as an image, I love it. And this is a beautiful low key image. The rolls of film are fantastic. You can still see all of the detail in the leather wrap of the camera, of the rubber ring around, even the interior of the lens. The lighting is fantastic. I do have a question. How many lights did you use? Your Uncle Bob was the smart one. Thanks, Joe. Don't forget, Minolta is the one who introduced all of the electronic functionality into 35mm. They were the innovators of the 35mm. They brought 35mm into today's electronic world. Maybe not necessarily, the best thing, but still at least, anyways. That could be a discussion over a cappuccino together one day in the future. So here we're using window light. Fantastic, beautifully lit. I like the fact that the way that you placed everything, quand même, si on la regarde, il y a quand même une bonne séparation entre... Puis ça, c'est difficile spécialement avec le noir en tant que tel. C'est-à-dire que la séparation des sujets principal versus le fond, souvent c'est difficile. Puis ici, Joe explique qu'il a utilisé de la lumière naturelle de la fenêtre. Il y a un seul source de lumière. Mais si on la regarde, la façon qu'il les a placés en fonction de son fond, on voit très bien la termination entre le sujet et le fond en arrière. Vous voyez comment est-ce que c'est assez bien découpé partout. Les pellicules tombent, on les perd pas nécessairement dans le fond noir en tant que tel. So, and the black is black, the white is white. Or I should say the silver, the metal is white. So, and even if you look down here at the logo of Nikon logo and the Nikon logo here on the face, your whites are white, your blacks are black. This is just a fantastic, fantastic image. I love it. And maybe later on this evening, when Uncle Bob sees the recording, he'll be able to comment on that for you too, Joe. Everybody so far, beautiful images. Here we have another one of this is Joe, sei italiano. You got I mean Joe Adona, or Greek or Italian, but this is a typical Italian with a nice bottle of Chianti. Even the walnuts. The fact I love the composition here. I mean, it's not just a bowl of walnuts with a Chianti and a piece of bread. But he actually opened up a couple of walnuts to give a little bit more oomph to the image. The lighting is beautiful. Maybe just burn in a little bit more here in the bottle. Again, here, did you use? And don't forget too, guys. Vous avez quand vous soumettez vos photos, vous avez toujours les descriptions que vous pouvez ajouter vos expositions, qu'est-ce que vous avez en fonction de l'éclairage. C'est toujours bien de savoir pour qu'on se puisse commenter en fonction de l'éclairage en tant que tel. Ici, je vois très bien que Joe il a utilisé un lumière de fond parce que vous voyez que le fond il est éclairé juste en arrière du bouteille, en dessous de la table. Fantastique pour séparer. Puis ici, on le voit très bien que d'avoir cette lumière de fond-là, c'est ça qui sépare réellement le fond du sujet principal de l'image. Composition-wise is beautiful. I like the fact that you use that background light. That background light really works well. See my explanation on the photo posted alone. Oh, okay. Hold on. There's a comment. Okay, we'll go back to the album afterwards, and we'll look at it there. But other than that, Joe, beautiful shot. Love it. Even the bread. You see how the bread has been separated from the background because of that light in the back. And the focus is well placed too. The other thing would have been, we'll check the exposure later. Just wondering which shutter speed you use for this one here. Now, let me see. Okay, you know what? We're at the last image here through the discussion group. So now what we'll do is we'll go back up to the top and check and see if I missed any in the actual album itself. So let's go back to the albums. And we're going to go into Still Life. Okay, so for some reason, we'll try. There we go. Let's get back out of here. So we just want to make sure I saw the images. We've gone through all of the images so far. I'm looking at the image itself, but I don't see any extra. Okay, see my explanation on the photo posted alone. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, sorry. Posted alone. You mean? I see what you mean. Hold on. And we're going to go back here. And go back down here. Here we go. There we go. Now I see it. Okay. Here we go. If you're Italian, you have ever played Yeah. Okay, so Uncle Bob got on it, and he even commented on it too. Okay, so just to put this into a little bit of context, so for those of you who are not Italian, Briscola is a card game that we learned when we were kids with our grandparents. And yes, absolutely, Joe. This brings me back to my grandfather in the canteen with the playing Briscola. You name it, Sette Bello. I remember all of that. Absolutely fantastic, though. Beautiful shots, everybody. All of you, fantastic. Mark, maybe after all of this, we could partake in the models. Oh, here we go. Okay, 22nd at f16, a 400 ISO using a 135 millimeter lens. And you see, that's what the 135 millimeter lens, that was a fantastic focal length to choose for this image, because the fact that, I mean, the camera looks that natural. Do all objects have to be in focus in still life? Mark asks, est-ce que tous les objets doivent être enfoyés dans la nature morte? C'est une bonne question, Marc, puis je vais t'avouer que c'est toujours l'élément principal qui devrait être le mise au point. C'est-à-dire aussi que ton éclairage doit suivre où est où ce que ton mise au point elle est positionnée. OK? So, c'est sûr et certain que quand vous montez vos justement vos excusez, j'étais distrait de quelque chose. Je vais juste enlever une fenêtre ici. Enlever. Voyons. Non, il ne veut pas. There we go. Excusez, c'est-à-dire que ton mise au point et ton éclairage doit suivre. C'est sûr et certain que si mon sujet, elle est justement dans le cas de la photo, de l'appareil photo, c'est-à-dire que l'éclairage principal doit être sur l'appareil en tant que tel. L'effet que Joe a choisi son f16 pour aller chercher la meilleure profondeur de champ possible dans cette photo-là. Il faut aussi avoir, si je me rappelle bien, c'était puis ici, c'était une longue exposition en fonction de 20 secondes. À 400 ISO, quand même. Mais vu que tout était totalement fixe, il n'y avait pas de problème pour ça. Mais le mise au point ici, c'était probablement plutôt sur cette partie. Oui, vous me voyez? Est-ce que vous voyez? Oui, vous devrez le voir mon curseur. Le mise au point est plus ou moins ici. Vu que, actually, non, excusez, ça serait plutôt ici sur le hectare 100 et la profondeur de champ a été chercher le Nikon en arrière. Si on regarde la photo de... Oups. Ici. Again, à F11, non, ici, c'est réellement... Il y a un petit jeu de... ton 1 centième de seconde. À 100 mm, ça aurait dû être un peu plus vite. Un 160, un 180, dépendant de l'appareil. Un 2 centièmes de seconde maximum à cause des flashs. Mais ici, dans ce cas, ici, c'est que si je mets mon mise au point sur la plume, I'll never get a crisp focus on the background. And don't forget, with depth of field, if my focus is back here, then I'll never get this here crisp, totally crisp. So, you know, you also have to work with your elements in consequence of how you're lighting your image and where you want to put the focus. Now, personally for me, because there's a skull here, you typically would have to still follow the principles of portrait photography, which is what? The eyes. No matter what, even though this is a skull, the eyes have got to be crisp. If the eyes are not crisp, you missed your shot. Okay? And at that point too, I'd have to, in this particular case, using these 4 elements, place my elements all en fonction de la tête. So, c'est-à-dire que on aurait pu peut-être mettre the skull and the book more or less on the same plane, put the feather with the ink, whatchamacallit, behind the book, and bring that candle more over to the left vis-a-vis the skull. If the skull is looking towards, now the way that you cropped it, in the sense that the skull is looking towards the left and you gave a little bit extra space on the left, that's fine, that's perfect. Okay, it's just how you placed your objects versus your focus and that light. Because if you look here, even though that the skull is receiving enough light here, your lighting is really over here, because it's close to the table, right? It's close to the table, and it's just not enough in line with your skull. Okay, but again, this comes with practice, and you got to take your time in visualizing the story that you're trying to create with it. I mean, there's many stories that you could have used, or you could have told with this particular image here. But other than that, it's not that you want. And don't forget, even though depth of field does put or can put everything into focus, that quality of the focus is never the same compared to where my focus point is. The focus point mechanically is the only actual true focus that you can do on the image. The rest is always a pas une formule, but it's an effect of what aperture you're using, how much of that, and if you want to, we can do this later on, but if you want to do a search on the expression circle of confusion, because that's where the depth of field works. It's a circle of confusion. OK? Si vous voulez avoir un peu, puis je pourrais faire ça plus tard, un épisode juste sur la profondeur de champ en tant que tel. Mais la profondeur de champ, c'est un effet de... ils appellent ça, en anglais, c'est le cercle de confusion. Je ne sais pas la parfaite expression, je veux dire traduction en français. Attends 2 secondes, je peux quand même te le sortir, voir qu'est-ce que mon traductrice Google va me donner. C'est-à-dire que Circle of Confusion. Mais un cercle de confusion, c'est ça, c'est exactement ça. Puis si je fais justement, I'll get you really quickly what is the definition of circle of confusion. Okay, in optics, a circle of confusion is an optical spot caused by a cone of light rays from a lens not coming to a perfect focus when imaging a point source. Okay, it's also known as a disk of confusion, a circle of indistinction or indistinctness, a blur circle or blur spot. Okay, and pour mes amis francophones, ça serait, en optique, un cercle de confusion est un point optique provoqué par un cône de rayons lumineuses provenant d'une lentille qui... actually, you know what? Je peux te le montrer tout de suite comme ça pendant que je le lis. Provenant d'une lentille, un objectif, qui ne parvient pas à une mise au point parfait lors de l'imagerie d'une source ponctuelle. Okay, so I hope that you can see that well enough. There we go. Our analysis of the weekly challenge has come to a close, and we're within the time. If you have other questions, please feel free to post them up in the chat here. Don't forget also, if you don't, even though I might not, I've spaced out our live productions, our live streams a little bit more, doesn't mean that if you don't see me, if you see me on Facebook and you have a question, please message me any questions that you might have, and I can answer. We can do one-on-ones. Si vous avez jamais des questions puis vous me voyez sur Facebook, quand même que je fais pas mes lives à tous les jours, ça veut pas dire qu'on peut, vous pouvez pas demander une question, surtout directement sur une de les défis en tant que tel. Demain, rejoins-moi ici, même heure, 15h30. Et puis demain, on va présenter le défi hebdomadaire pour la semaine prochaine, qui serait du low-key. Puis on va parler de comment est-ce qu'on peut éclairer ça avec la lumière artificielle versus même la lumière naturelle. Et puis, quel sujet qu'on peut... I mean, low-key, on peut faire ça autant avec du nature morte qu'avec du portrait. Typiquement, c'est low-key, high-key, c'est plutôt... c'est sûr et certain, c'est de la photographie posée, arrangée. Tandis que, vous pouvez le faire avec la nature morte, avec le portrait, comme vous voulez. C'est pas quelque chose qu'on ferait genre à l'extérieur en tant que tel. So tomorrow's episode will be again at 3:30 in the afternoon, Saturday. So that means it's going to be April 25th. We're going to be talking about next week's weekly challenge, photo challenge, which will be low-key images, which can be anything from macro to still life to portrait. If you want to do portrait, you get the kids involved. Again, I wish you all a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful weekend if we don't see each other. Also, just, if you go out, later I'm going to be going out with the kids for our bike ride. Get out, your little your bull d'air or whatever. But again, be courteous. Everybody, we're all in the same boat. I hear stories on the internet, and I hear stories on the boob tube about people being agitated and being you're not the only ones on this earth. I'm no more important than the person standing beside me or standing in front of me. Okay, so my mom always said, if you want to be treated well, treat others the way you want to be treated. Don't forget that, and keep that 2-meter distance at 6 feet between you. Stay motivated. All right, and I'm trying to get a little bit of exercise in too at the same time. So have a wonderful day, everybody. And if you have any questions, don't forget me. I'm always here. And at worst comes to worst, I can always answer you through my cell. I always have my cell on me. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. I appreciate it, and I hope everybody this helps. And it's just to help you guys all, become better storytellers visually, better photographers. Because photography, in essence, is that it's practice. Once you and that's something too that I try to instill in the younger generation, is that it's not so much that you have to do the same photography as the masters or the people who came before you, but learn the basics so that you can apply it more accurately to what you're trying to produce. And I'm sorry, but it's practice. I'm not a scientist. I am definitely not a mathematician, but the few rules and the few formulas that I use in photography, the reason that I know these things are because I practice them and I practice them and I practice them to the point where they become automatic modes myself. Okay? C'est-à-dire que la photographie, c'est de la pratique. Je suis pas mathématicien, je suis pas scientifique. J'adore les sciences, oui, mais je ne peux pas. La seule raison pourquoi que je connais les formules puis les techniques que je connais en photographie, c'est parce que ça fait 40 ans que j'ai pratique. Puis je t'avoue que même, puis c'est pas 40 ans en tant que tel, c'est sur 40 ans de la photographie que j'ai faite, même avec des sabbatiques que j'ai pris, mais ça revient toujours à la pratique. Plus que je pratique, je souffre de déficit d'attention, absolument. Puis je viens de la génération bien avant que c'était vraiment une maladie. Okay? Mais j'ai toujours contretourné ma déficit d'attention pour que je puisse réagir comme il faut en société et en qu'est-ce que je fais en tous les jours. Puis c'est de la pratique. Peu importe, c'est toujours la pratique. Plus que vous pratiquez le triangle d'exposition, plus que vous pratiquez ou faire ton mise au point, ça devient un automatisme, dans le sens que vous oublierez que, oui, je l'ai fait déjà. J'ai juste besoin de faire la composition, conter une meilleure histoire. C'est ça que je veux faire. Puis c'est ça la photographie. Ça vient avec la pratique. Je te demande pas de porter votre appareil photo à tous les heures, 24 heures sur 24, 7 jours sur 7. Malgré que c'est ça que plus ou moins que je fais, oui, mais je veux pas que tout le monde se soit comme moi non plus. Pratiquer. Prenez 1 heure par jour. Prenez même une demi-heure par jour. Puis sortez l'appareil photo. La première chose que vous voyez, prenez-la en photo, voir comment j'aurais pu améliorer cette photo-là en tant que telle. You know? So, photography, that's what it is. It's practice. I'm not asking you to glue the camera to your hip 24/7 like me, which basically is what I do. I step outside to if I step outside to go do the grass, the first thing I put on my shoulder is my X100F, just in case I find something that I'm interesting enough to take a picture of while I'm cutting the grass. I'm not asking you guys to do that, but take some time, take an hour, and you know what? For me, it photography for me is also therapeutic because it's a time in my day where I can say, oh look, this is interesting, and even if I take it for that 5 minutes, that I've noticed that one thing that caught my eye, and I took that picture or 3 pictures or 4 pictures in different positions, different compositions. That in itself for me is my yoga, basically. So, listen, what do you want me to say? Thank you all. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your participation. Merci beaucoup à tous pour votre support et votre participation. C'est toujours apprécié. Puis c'est ça qui me motive à continuer à faire ces épisodes-là live. C'est pour vous autres autant que pour moi, mais c'est pour vous autres pour partager ma passion en photographie. Thank you very much. I hope that I can share my passion of photography to you all. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Here we go. I don't know which one I should end first. It's funny to say it.